buenos días a todos. I will translate for Sergio, please. Muy buenos días a todos. Sergio, es nuestro turno para intervenir. Tienes que abrir el audio.
Dr. Sergio, can you please raise your hand so that I can identify you? I couldn't find any name such as Sergio.
I will translate. Sergio, por favor, levanta la mano en los iconos que están abajo, donde está el audio y el video. Vas a encontrar unos que dicen reacciones. Si haces clic, va a ir un link que dice levantar la mano, por favor, para que te puedan identificar y darte el audio.
One, two, three, four, five, six.
Okay, now Sergio is raising his hand, please. Can you unmute him?
He unmuted.
Yes, yes.
I see. I see. Yes. Yes.
Yes, doctor. Yes, doctor.
Okay.
Sí, Sergio, se escucha y se ve bien.
Ya, perfecto. Estoy con un problema como para proyectar la pantalla. Ya, en este momento estoy con el iPad, no fue imposible. Pero voy a compartir lo que hemos hablado. ¿Te parece?
Ok, perfecto. Dame unos segundos.
Lo vamos diciendo y después, ya.
Si tú empiezas oración por oración y yo voy traduciendo paulatina, o sea, simultáneamente.
O lo digo castellano y tú lo traduces. ¿Te parece?
Sí, está muy bien.
Voy hablándolo en castellano y tú... Perfecto.
Claro,
La homeopatía...
Sí, dame unos segundos que te voy a traducir con todos. So, good morning, good night, good evening to everyone. Thanks for the invitations. He's Dr. Sergio Castillo from Chile. He has a little problems to share the screen, so he will be just speaking for us. Bienvenido, Sergio, puedes iniciar.
Ya. La homeopatía enfrenta hoy uno de los retos más importantes de su vida y de su historia.
Homeopathy faces today one of the most important challenges in its life and history.
Es convencer a quienes deciden, sea en las políticas de salud, sea la prescripción individual que podemos ofrecer, que nosotros podemos ofrecer resultados positivos tanto en el tratamiento como en la prevención de quienes integran la comunidad.
This task is to convince those who decide, whether in health policies or individual prescriptions, that we can offer positive results both in treatment and in the prevention of those who make up the community.
Para ello, debemos unirnos en una estrategia común que permita las variaciones locales de acuerdo a las situaciones que enfrenta en cada país o región.
For this, we must unite in a common strategy that allows local variations according to the situations faced in each country or region.
Y dentro de la estrategia, la comunicación juega un rol decisivo. Vamos a desarrollar un breve vistazo. Vamos a desarrollar un breve vistazo a lo que considero los hitos más importantes.
And within the strategy, communication plays a decisive role in this task. Let's take a brief look at what I consider the most important tasks in this mission.
Lo primero es observarnos descarnadamente. La pregunta es, ¿dónde estoy?
The first thing is to observe us starkly, and the question is where I am.
Eso nos entregará el lugar desde el cual evaluamos la realidad. Y a partir de ello desarrollo una narrativa. Y cuento una historia, mi historia.
That will give us the place from which we evaluate reality. And from that I develop my narrative and I tell an history, my history.
Al hacer esto, tengo que enlazarme con quienes me comunico, que son mi comunidad, donde la forma como se asumen la salud y las enfermedades tiene aspectos cognitivos y simbólicos.
By doing this, I have to connect with those who are my community, that are my community, and they has a way in which health and disease are assumed, and it has a cognitive and symbolic aspects.
El COVID nos ha mostrado cómo nos comportamos, qué hábitos cambian más rápido y cuánto podemos soportar el distanciamiento social.
COVID has shown us how we behave, which habits change faster, and how much we have to tolerate the social distancing.
Y los homeópatas tenemos que escuchar y observar para poder responder a las necesidades sentidas y muchas veces no expresadas de la comunidad.
And we, as homeopathic doctors, have to listen and observe in order to respond to the felt and often unexpressed needs of the community.
En esta tarea nos vamos a encontrar con muchos grupos, donde algunos piensan semejante a nosotros y otros discrepan hasta desacreditarnos.
In this task, we're going to meet many groups and many thinkings, where somebody can think similar to us and other people will be disagree until we are disaccredited.
Aquí, lamentablemente, no está la pantalla, pero fundamentalmente los stakeholders, las NGO, las autoridades de salud, todo lo que nos rodea van a tener una relación fuerte con nosotros porque tenemos también competidores y tenemos personas que también, u organizaciones que nos están ayudando, nos apoyan.
So there are a lot of organizations who are working with us, and they are from the government.
Por lo tanto, tenemos que prepararnos para poder conversar con ellos y poder colocar nuestros intereses, que son intereses en pos de la comunidad, para poder lograr objetivos.
So it's very important that we have a previous preparations to speak with them, to achieve our important objective, that is to spread homeopathy.
Todo está conectado y queremos lo mejor para la sociedad. Sin embargo, la legitimidad no es lo mismo que la legalidad.
Everything is connected and we want the best for the society. However, legality is not the same as legitimacy.
Y encontramos múltiples ejemplos de esto en nuestras sociedades.
We find multiple examples of this in our societies.
También ayuda poco que se vea la homeopatía como algo secreto, extraño, misterioso, casi brujo.
It also is not a help that homeopathy is seen as something secret, strange, mysterious, almost like a witch.
Aquí es relevante transparentar nuestro accionar a través de las redes sociales y de los medios de comunicación que no estén sobornados por intereses económicos.
Here, it is relevant to make our actions transparent through social networks and media that are not bribed by economic interests.
E identificar si lo que vemos es real o percibido en las decisiones que nos apartan.
And identify if what we see is real or just is perceived in the decisions that separate us.
Y ahí decidir qué estrategia comunicacional empleamos, sin olvidar que no se puede prometer lo que no se pueda resolver.
And then it's very important to decide what communication strategy we have to use without forgetting that you cannot promise what you cannot be resolved.
La urgencia de la demanda en emergencias puede legitimarnos siempre que tengamos la capacidad de solucionarla.
The urgency of demand in emergencies can legitimize us as long as we have the capacity to solve it.
Siempre anticipe los hechos. Preguntémonos quién, por qué, cuándo, dónde y cómo. Eso lo conocemos muy bien. Se ha estructurado en nuestros repertorios. Somos especialistas en el análisis y debemos decidir qué va primero y qué va después.
Always anticipate to the facts. Ask yourself who, why, when, where, and how. We know that very well. It has been structured in our repertories. We are specialists in analysis, and we must decide what goes first and what goes after.
Así, entregaremos servicios y ayudas pertinentes a la situación, contribuyendo al bienestar de la comunidad, sumándosenos líderes de opinión porque nos identificamos con lo que la sociedad en conjunto desea.
In this way, we will finally deliver services and assistance pertinent to the situation, contributing to the well-being of the community, joining us opinion leaders because we identify with what society as a whole wants.
Una última cosa es, nos agrada mucho que el IFPH ya esté dando esta lucha tan importante para poder promover la homeopatía. La noticia de que el estado de Kerala ha avanzado en apoyar al COVID es una maravillosa noticia.
A last thing more. I'm very happy because I know that the forum is working in this kind of tasks and activities to promote homeopathy. And it's a very nice and great notice that Kerala government is supporting homeopathy.
Y también el aporte que han hecho los homeópatas de la India al ser los primeros que recomendaron el arsénico album C30 para tratar, lo que ha llevado a homeópatas en distintas partes del mundo a ir estudiando, agregando medicamentos y fundamentalmente entregándonos una buena información para poder tratar a nuestros pacientes.
And I want to thank that initiative from doctors from India who had recommended arsenicum album for the treatment of COVID-19. It was a very important task and mission because it led us to study this remedy and to make a better medicine for our patients.
Finalmente, agradecer esta oportunidad. Me comprometo a enviar la presentación en PowerPoint para que esté a disposición de ustedes y sobre todo gracias a la doctora Marian porque ha hecho una gran labor y creo que va a ser la impulsora de un nuevo amanecer en la unión de los homeópatas latinoamericanos.
Gracias, Sergio. And finally, I would like to thanks to all of you, and special thanks to Dr. Marian, because she's translating now for me, and she will be the new meet in homeopathy, in Latin American homeopathy doctors in our regions. Thank you very much.
Gracias.
Gracias, Sergio. Vivo agradecida contigo. Thank you very much. He will share with you the PowerPoint presentations to have you. Thank you very much.
So, thank you, Dr. Sergio Castro, and thank you, Dr. Marian Salcedo. So now he's going to share anything?
No, because he has some problems to share the screen, but he will share with us the PowerPoint.
Okay, no problem. Okay, no problem. Now I'm welcoming Dr. Ranjeetha Parida from USA. Doctor, please welcome.
Hello everyone, thank you so much. I'm Dr. Ranjeetha, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my views on today's topic. That's what needs to be done to make homeopathy #1 medicine in the world. So as of now, as everyone, we know that in US, homeopathy is not given much importance. In fact, you can say there are only some 3 or 4 states where we can apply and get permission to practice all over USA. And yes, the process is a bit lengthy and expensive too. But comparatively, when thinking practically, the expense are more actually. Expense and there is no job opportunities. Job opportunities, you can say it is very less. And homeopathy are not included in insurance, most of the insurance over here. So most of the people, they opt for medical services where insurance gets covered. So, and moreover here, like availability of medicines are also very less. We need to get it from outside and the cost again increases. Then here homeopathy doctors, as far as I know from this few months, that even laboratory tests we can't write. So these are some of the problems what homeopathy doctors face at the beginning over here and end up feeling lost, and some even opt for some other jobs. It's usual practically when they see this. And to avoid this, more job opportunities must be created, and by including homeopathic section or department in hospitals, all hospitals, including every PHCs. So that patient themselves will get to know different system of medicine, and then they themselves can decide which is good for their health, and obviously unprejudicedly. And pay disparities must be dealt with, and homeopathy should be included in insurances. And not only government should fund for research or studies, they have to also give some opportunities also. Equal opportunities should be given. As of today's pandemic, we know that like we are facing at present also, that other system of medicine, homeopathy, Ayurveda, are not given so much of opportunity. They are prejudiced by that. So these things should be dealt with. And I know to get these approvals from government bodies is not that easy. But when something new or good is introduced to the world, first they have to face lots of opposition or criticisms. But consistency and determination to achieve will make it a success. I believe to achieve or make homeopathy #1 medicine, we have to start from our basic, that is our college or institutions. They should concentrate more on improving their infrastructures and OPDs, IPDs, so that students can get more practical exposure along with theoretical knowledge. So as practically speaking, during practice, only theory knowledge will not be enough. So next thing is we have to proving ourselves scientifically sound is the need of the day. So we know what is the scope of homeopathy, and even some modern medicine doctors know that homeopathy can cure and treat many more conditions which modern medicine can't. But to pull us down might be due to their insecurities. Modern medicine has a weapon and say homeopathy is unscientific. Might be because we don't have so much of documented proofs with us. And to achieve this, methodology and process for documentation and research must be taught and encouraged from the level of from college level itself. And education in college must be such that the fear or doubt whether I can with homeopathy should be replaced with much of courage and confidence. And to achieve this thing, even as an individual, we should first contribute. We can't depend only on government body or any organization. As an individual also, we have some responsibility, and as the path to success starts from home, they say. So we can educate people around us, and we can take time to conduct sessions for our patients and their families and educate them about homeopathy and health. In such a way, your words will flow from mouth to mouth, and in turn, more people will get to know about homeopathy. So in Bollywood, there is a movie where they say if you want to inculcate something good in the society, first you need to do that. You have to start it or start telling it to other people and start helping, and ask each of them, at least 3 of them you need to help, and ask 3 of them, each of them to convey that to 3 others, so that the chain goes on. So when majority demands, government will definitely have to take steps and fund for improvising homeopathy. And there should be a forum or organization like this in every state or country, so that doctors can get connected and get themselves registered. With this, what will happen is, like in modern medicine, there are many specialists. Even in homeopathy, we too have, like through their experience or through their practice, they have expertised themselves in certain treating certain kind of disease conditions or certain systems. So we can directly contact through this organization, because we are disconnected and we don't know exactly whom to contact and how to refer our patients. So this will form a media for doctors to contact each other and take their help, and we can get success homeopathically. And with this also we can get one more help. What it is, like doctors who are shifting from one state or country to the other. So each country has their own set of rules about the practice. So when we land up in some other country, we will be wondering, what is the rules over here? What course we have to take up to enter into practice? What are the certificates we have to get? Where the permission has to be got? Or what are the job opportunities? What are the expenses? Or what are the earnings? These are some of the practical questions what we get, and we get confused. So through these organizations, what we can connect to the doctors who are already practicing over here and take their help. I myself, through IFPH, got contact with Dr. Shahji actually, and he introduced me to Dr. Matthew, who is practicing here from many years. He is guiding me, and even as I said, I had mentioned previously, availability of medicine is very less. So he is helping me out in that also. So we can help each other to improve the homeopathic system. And thank you, Dr. Shaji and Matthew, and of course, thank you, IFPH, for this. I have got this privilege through this. So many doctors can get benefited through these kind of organization and forums. And yes, media, of course, will play a vital role in promoting homeopathy. Even after 220 plus years, many people, you can say majority of population around the world are unaware of about homeopathy. Some people might be, they will be wondering, they'll be listening this word homeopathy for first time. So it's important that people know about it, and it's possible only through media. And it may be any social media, journals, newspapers, television, radio, through any media, we have to just go to people. And next comes pharma. The pharma also can play a vital role. Pharma and some institution, they can conduct some seminars or conferences, free medical camps. They can conduct some research on some particular disease conditions or proving on new drugs. And they can also make homeopathic medicines available in every corner of the world by creating some franchises or multiple outlets, etc. With this, the visibility of homeopathy will increase, and more people will get to know about it. So when medicines are made available easily, obviously the cost will reduce. So even though insurance people are not covering this homeopathy, still due to availability, affordability, people will opt for it. Who wants to continue with homeopathy, they can continue because of easily available, as we get it easily available over here. So, and who knows, when demand increases, automatically even insurance companies will start including homeopathy in their service. And in turn, government can also pass measures to improvise homeopathy in their respective country. So thank you once again. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with IFPH. Thank you. And now I'm welcoming Dr. Rajesh Shah. Dr. Rajesh Shah, please. Dr. Rajesh Shah.
Yeah, hi. Hello, everybody.
Hi,
Good
sir.
afternoon, good evening to everyone. Let me thank the organizers for inviting me to talk for a few minutes on this topic of how to make homeopathy. What should we do to make homeopathy number one? Well, in my view, I am not in favor of making any system of medicine as number one or number two. I don't personally believe in any competition of the systems of medicine. I would rather, yes, there is some disturbance. I rather believe in not competition, but in improving the competence of the system. So I believe that if we increase and improve our competence of homeopathy, then automatically homeopathy will start enjoying its deserving position in the world. And then the question is, how do we improve our competence? How do we become more and more competent so that homeopathy remains acceptable? So in my view, I remember a very famous quotation by some learned man. It goes like this, that what has brought you here will not take you to the next level. And this is a very important quotation because that is quite applicable to homeopathy. See, whatever strain that homeopathy had and homeopathy has brought us today to this level where homeopathy has still survived even after 220 years, in spite of so much of skepticism and so much of opposition from various corners. However, the same qualities of homeopathy will not allow us to take it to the next level. Then what will take homeopathy to the next level? That is the next question. I think in order that we take homeopathy to the next level, we will have to do a lot of introspection. We'll have to do a lot of house cleaning. We'll have to look into our backyard and see what is not allowing us to grow. What is stopping us? What are our limitations? What are our weaknesses? And how do we overcome those weaknesses? Homeopathy is a science. Homeopathy is not a religion. Homeopathy is not philosophy. Homeopathy has to grow as a scientific faculty. When Hahnemann started homeopathy, or when he found it, he projected homeopathy as a medical science, which was very distinct in those years as compared to what was happening around that time. And however, that time's old medicine, it evolved very rapidly, and that so-called orthodox medicine turned into today's what is called as modern medicine, with the help of the development of science, the technology, and engineering, all put together, has allowed the orthodox medicine to become modern medicine today. And the same thing has not happened with homeopathy, as I discussed even yesterday briefly. So then what do we do to improve our competence? I think first of all, we will have to improve our language. What I mean by that is we will have to have a language. We should learn to speak a language which the mainstream scientists, they are able to understand. All these years, we have been talking in homeopathy, the language of philosophy, the language of dynamic medicine, the language of vital force, the language of miasms. We are not wrong in doing that. We are probably right. However, that language is not compatible with today's language. If I have to give a talk to you, I have to speak in English language, which is understood by everybody. I cannot speak in Kannada or Gujarati or Punjabi. So if we are talking to the world of medicine and healthcare, we will have to develop a language which is a common language. Please understand, at the end of the day, we are dealing with patients. We are dealing with diseases. We are focusing on treating the diseases. The patient has the same language. How can we interpret it differently? Currently, what is happening is that we as homeopaths tend to look at the patient's diseases and patient suffering with a different lens than what the conventional doctor is doing. We don't need to necessarily do that. There is some gap somewhere, something is wrong. The same disease cannot be diagnosed in two different ways. A cataract is a cataract and a hernia is a hernia. We cannot have two different understanding about the same disease in the same patient. If we do that, it means something is wrong in our basic understanding. So we need to improve our language and synchronize that with the currently spoken medical language. And there is nothing wrong in that. If you look back, homeopathy, the concept of potentization in homeopathy, which renders the medicinal substance to a level where nothing is visible. When nothing was visible in the homeopathic medicine and it was still working, so we started believing, obviously, that there is some kind of energy. There is some energy in it because we could not see anything microscopically or with our naked eyes. So that energy and the dynamics, and those concepts that we had in homeopathy are backfiring now. And we got stuck with that understanding of dynamics or dynamic power or the vital force and so on. And we also continued believing that homeopathic medicines, the bottles, they contain energy. Now, this is, in my view, where we went wrong. Fortunately, the current research that is being done at IIT Mumbai in last 10 years, which is with the breakthrough research, has helped us look at homeopathic so-called dynamic medicines in the form of some nanoparticles. Now, this is a great breakthrough, and that is allowing us to see that there are nanoparticles in the medicines that we have, and it is no more energy. Having understood that, it means these nanoparticles based homeopathic medicines are able to bring about certain changes in the cellular level, not at energy level. These nanoparticulate based homeopathic medicines are capable of altering altering the cellular changes, immunological changes, and even epigenetic changes. And this is what is exactly seem to be happening, which is, as we have found in the research in last 10 to 15 years. So automatically, actually, our language is changing. We are changing our language from dynamics, from energy, to a nanoparticle related language. In our recent research has also shown by several scientists that homeopathic medicines also bring changes in the cell line models in the laboratory, and that those changes can be perceived, those changes can be measured, those changes can be analyzed using the standard scientific methodology or methods. To give you an example, one of our drugs, HIV Nozor, has shown certain changes in the cell-line model in the laboratory, whereby it is able to upregulate certain telomerase enzyme and topoisomerase enzyme. These are the two enzymes which are responsible for the growth of the cancer cells. And we could see that this nosode has a capacity to alter and inhibit certain processes whereby cancer cell growth could be retarded or inhibited. Now, if we speak this language, then the scientists of the mainstream, they are very happy listening to us. Then they have no objection. They have no objection in accepting what is scientifically explainable. So similarly, we have observed that one of our new drugs for developed from Plasmodium falciparum nosode has shown a capacity to regulate certain enzymes in the cell line model, which are able to inhibit the growth of the Plasmodium falciparum organisms. If with this experiments, if you are able to explain the mechanism of action of homeopathic medicines, then we are speaking the language which is understandable by the mainstream scientist. So for this, we will have to really work very strategically in a very focused manner over the next 10 to 15 years. Once we do that, then we will become more competent. And then I'm sure people are looking for alternative systems of medicine, and homeopathy can possibly show the great potential to be accepted. I don't care about number 1, number 2, number 3. We are not in competition. We are in the service of treating humans. Competition is not what we look at. Competence is something that we look at. I do not know how much time I have. If I have some couple of more minutes, or the time is over?
Yeah, please continue for 2-3 minutes now.
Great, thank you. So we also need to do a lot of home cleaning, as I say. What I mean by that is we must realize that we are depending on the homeopathic medicines, which are around 1,500 drugs, which are in the pharmacopoeias. And almost 98% of these medicines were developed and prepared almost 130 years ago. So it means that in last 130 years, we have not developed any new major homeopathic drug. In my view, no system of medicine can survive and grow without having new drugs being developed. We are depending on those medicines like silica, calcaraca, tuberculinum, phosphorus, etc., which were developed many years back. They are extremely effective medicines. I have no objection to that. However, the diseases are getting more and more complex, and there are ways whereby we can use many more drugs with better understanding about how they really work. Hahnemann in his time could develop 101 or 102 drugs. Herring developed medicines, T.F. Allen developed medicines, Samuel Swan developed medicines. And then in last 120 years, we practically did not develop any major new drugs. What are we doing as a profession? We have become very lazy. And then we complain that the science is not accepting us. Then we complain that allopathic doctors don't accept us. How do they accept you? When we have not introduced adequate scientific techniques to evaluate and demonstrate the efficacy of the medicines, we simply rely on the drugs. We rely on the drugs which were developed 130, 150 years back. We even many times don't know the drug that you are using in your clinic, the drug that you are buying from a local pharmacy, the drug that the local pharmacy is buying from somewhere else, how reliable these medicines are. We never bother as homeopaths to really understand the genesis, the origin, the source of these drugs. To give you a simple example, if you look at the medicines like say tuberculinum or medorinum, did you know that these medicines cannot be made today? The medicine which you are using every day in the practice, say tuberculinum or medorinum, was actually prepared 135 to 140 years ago. And what we are using today is nothing but the medicine which is prepared sequentially from the back potencies of a drug substance which was introduced somewhere in 1875 by Mr. Swan, and in the 1890 by another homeopath. These are the two samples of tuberculinum and medoninum that we are using even today. And how can any medicine be used purely sourced from the back potencies? The back potencies have to be questioned. Most of you may not be aware that the drugs that you are buying from the local pharmacy, they are not manufactured actually from the source material. They are simply developed from the back potencies. Now, this kind of chaos we have in our homeopathic materia medica, and we need to really clean that up. We need to be really aware about what is wrong with us. What are the corrections? What are the improvements that we need to bring in our own science before we claim or before we blame other people for not accepting us? So these are some of my views about how to become more competent as a system of medicine. Thank you so much for listening to me carefully.